Before we begin, thank you very much to Zach M for his contribution to my Patreon campaign over at patreon.com/TJOmega. It is very, very appreciated. Thank you very much. Doesn't matter how big or small the contribution is, it all helps keep the channel going and keep the videos coming. So I appreciate anything you guys do for me. Thank you very much. Now, I don't know if you're cool with your thank you being in a Funko Pop video, but if we're going to be talking about important elements of working in a toy store these days, I have to talk Funko Pops because honestly, and like, I hate to say it, I hate to do this, but I get it now. I finally get it. I was one of those that for the longest time was just refusing to try and go in on the Funko Pop thing. I didn't want any in my collection. I didn't want any. I didn't want them. Like they did Transformer ones. I'm like, no. They did Thundercat ones. Like, no. Like, you cannot play to my nostalgia. I would rather have actual action figures. Before working here, I had a few. There were a few that kind of broke my walls down a little bit. They did a set for Ah Real Monsters. Loved that show as a kid. Had to have those because it's the only merch that they've had in, 2 decades. There's a few others. I can't think of the Mega Man. They did Mega Man ones. So I had to get the Mega Man ones. So yeah, like because they were, and this is what Funko does. Funko will license literally everything until they hit your nostalgia the way that they need to hit it. And then they just rope you into getting everything else. That's the Funko approach. So it got me, but it really didn't get me until I started working here. And until I started going through a whole bunch of these because these are a completely different beast than anything that I ever expected them to be. One of my first jobs when I started working at this shop was to start pricing out what seemed like an endless mountain of Funko Pops. There had to be at least 300 in this pile. I would sit down cross-legged in the middle of it and I'd just be surrounded by walls and I'd just go through them one by one, price them all out. And it was a nightmare. So you can't just hit them with a scanner and put a price tag on them. That's the first thing I learned because the scanners are algorithms. They are not people making offers. They are not they are not like actual real-time values. It is an estimate based on a machine crunching numbers, and the machine cannot tell when a counterfeit is sold versus a real one. It cannot tell when it cannot tell like a lucky auction versus the real thing. Sometimes it includes loose ones instead of boxed ones. It throws everything. Like there's a lot of ways that the algorithm gets thrown off, so it's not entirely accurate. Now, if a lot of these come in at once, it gives me a good enough ballpark to make an offer for everything. But beyond that, you can't go by that. You have to look them up on eBay. You have to see what they're currently selling for, and then you have to take into account, well, do I tack on some extra cash because we got to put a case on them ourselves? Do I tack on a little extra because maybe they come in, because someone who sees it in person is going to want it more than just seeing it online. Or they can walk right out the door with it. I do find that it is a really important thing that you can see the condition. You're not trusting that the seller is, you don't have to worry about a seller being dishonest about the condition of the pop. You can actually walk out with it. You're not waiting a week or two for it to come in the mail, and you're not trusting the U.S. Postal Service with the condition of your collectible. Big advantage to buying in person. So in person, you can get away with a little bit more than that. So I had to figure out how all of that worked, and I had to figure out where the balance lied between what's fair and what we could potentially get. Do we get this happy little medium where everyone is happy with the arrangement? And there's things, there's other factors to account for here. I have to take into account every little bit of damage. Funko collectors are the most picky collectors I have ever seen. The slightest rip, the slightest dent, the slightest ding, the slightest scuff, they're out. So these have to be pristine. And I'm half convinced Funko makes the boxes as cheap and damageable as possible so that the good ones hold as much value as they possibly can. That's basically what I feel like it's boiled down to at this point. When I'm doing all of this, when I'm pricing out all of these and I'm learning just how Funko works, So like looking for individual stickers, like individual store stickers, FYE exclusive. Here's a limited edition glow chase. Here's a WWE exclusive. So WWE shop or WWE event is where that's sold. Here's a Walmart. Here's a limited chase of the Iron Sheik. I've got the normal Sheik too. There is so much to account for because there's so many Funkos where, we'll take Piper here, for example. This is already a really solid Funko Pop. This one already has some really nice value to it. However, for example, just for example, if this had the WWE exclusive sticker on it, that would mean it was sold from a WWE source and it would be worth more because it's harder to come by. But the actual difference between the two versions of Piper would be none. It would be nothing. It would just be the sticker. I found out that the sticker alone is sometimes the only difference between certain pops, and that is what determines the entire value of the toy. The exact same pop can be $10 if it was sold at just a normal shop with no stickers, but if you got the GameStop release of it, it's $40. Or if you got the one that has a special edition sticker on it, $55. Something crazy like that. Just because the sticker means it was a lower run release. It's not even like when a Pokemon card was first edition, back when they did first edition cards, it was a stamp on the physical card. This is a sticker. You can print stickers. Like you can take and I've had to do this. I've seen where people have put fake glow in the dark stickers on a pop to try and get more out of it. I've seen where they've transplanted stickers from one box to another, trying to make it look like a rarer version. And I have to account for all of that. I have had to train my eye to spot, okay, that sticker's in the wrong spot. This looks like it's been peeled up. There's damage here that indicates that this box has been opened. A lot of different factors go into each and every individual pop that I price. And considering we take in pop collections that are north of 100 pieces, I have to have a razor sharp eye for a lot of this. I have to meticulously look over every side and edge of the box to make sure there is absolutely nothing wrong with it before I decide, yes, I'm going to include this in my offer. I have to make sure each and every label is correct. I have to make sure that they're all in the right locations. I have to make sure that they were officially released under that branding. It is so much to keep track of, so much more than you would think, because that is where the entire market is in how limited they are and how hard that version was to get. So when I look at this wall here, a dozen things or more go through my head all at once, trying to figure out the exact calculation of what it is worth, what I need to pay to get it, and what I could potentially sell it for. It's a lot. And it's taken me months, and I'm still picking up new things. I'm still learning new things to watch out for. I did not expect Funko Pops to be such a big part of my job working a toy store. I just wanted to shill action figures, man. It was shill action figures, talk some Pokemon cards, and we'll just have a good old grand time selling you some collectible plastic. No, vinyl. Vinyl, not bobbleheads. Well, sometimes bobbleheads. But I have learned to not only accept it, I have learned to actually enjoy it. Like I said, my Funko Pops, I tried to keep as few as possible. Just the very rare times they breached a particular part of my nostalgia, or when they hit one of my strongest loves. However, Funko has a way of wearing you down. The second you start giving in to the temptation of the pop, it's the old Pringles line. Is once you pop, you cannot stop. It's very hard to go like, okay, I'm done. That's it for Funko Pops. I got 5 or 6. I got my one set that I want. There are some people who do that, but oh my god. And I finally figured out why. It finally dawned on me why it is like that. And this is a bad spread. This is a bad spread to actually bring you this revelation. So you are a aspiring pop collector. You're not too big into it, but there's a few particular favorites of yours that they made that you kind of want, and they appeal directly to you. So, you get your Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, exceptionally popular character, probably the character I get asked the most. Do you have Harley Quinn as a Funko Pop? Yes, I have Harley Quinn as a Funko Pop. But you're also a D&D player, so you want Strahd. You started Curse of Strahd was your very first campaign, so you want to have the main villain, and you kind of like the dice in there, so you get Strahd as well. You're a fast food fanatic, so Grimace. You decide to pick up a Grimace as well. Big purple pudgy guy. And then for some reason you decide you like Otter Pops. Just for whatever reason, you have an otter, so you get your Otter Pop. And Elvis Presley. I don't know either. But you want a Jailhouse Rock, you can do that too. But what I learned here is that you can have this eclectic little batch of these just random characters. You got a real person, you got, characters who appear in animation, characters who appear in a fantasy game, advertising icons, and we could go on this, Star Wars aliens, monsters from classic movies, all kinds of crazy stuff. Random characters from TV shows and old 90s movies, cartoon characters, Pokemon, what have you, that they do Funko Pops out of. They do practically everything these days. But no matter what you buy, no matter which ones you get, no matter what you end up with, they're all going to be the same size. No matter, as long as you're buying just a standard Funko Pop, they're all going to be the same size. And more importantly, they're going to be the same aesthetic. They're all going to have that same cute little big-eyed, large expression, large head thing going on. I figured this out partially because I have the new Marvel Legends Spider-Man 2099 on pre-order. And while I was out one day, I decided, hey, Walmart actually has the new McFarlane Batman Beyond. Wouldn't that actually be cool to have future Batman and future Spider-Man together? I think that would make a really nice display, actually. Let me have both of those. So, my Spider-Man's on the way. I have Terry McGinnis. I have Batman Beyond now. But Batman is a little bit more overly detailed because it's a McFarlane toy. They have to throw in some extra sculpting. So aesthetically, they're not quite the same. Close enough, but not quite. But also, McFarlane is a 7-inch line. Marvel is a 6-inch line. And I have no idea why, when Marvel Legends is such a huge action figure line, why would DC go with a different scale? Why wouldn't you want your action figures to be the same scale as Marvel so they can be intermixed and look good together on a shelf? That's kind of the point. That's kind of what people would kind of like. But McFarlane has to be weird and different, so they're 7-inch scale, so they're never going to match. And I have to wait who knows how long for DC to do another 6-inch line and actually put out a Batman Beyond that is comparable in aesthetic. Hopefully more cartoon-oriented aesthetic, so he matches that Spider-Man 2099. That could take forever. I'm interested in having that now. 5, 10, who knows how many years from now, I'm probably not going to want that as a display anymore. So, I don't want to wait that long. Now, if I had Spider-Man 2099 as a Funko Pop and Batman Beyond as a Funko Pop, the aesthetic would match, the size would match, wouldn't have a single issue. If the aesthetic is off, fine. It's not your fault if you don't like the aesthetic. It's personal touch. It's personal flavor, personal preference. Not a big deal. I've grown to like the aesthetic. And my Funko collection went from, oh god, I don't want to get any. I'm trying so hard to push all these back. I've probably got like 60 of them now. And I'm a bad Funko collector. I take them out of the box because I don't really care about the value later on. I want to enjoy them the way I want to enjoy them, which is to see them all together, not separated by a bunch of cards and advertising slogans. I don't like the boxes, so I don't keep them. But that's another factor why people like them, because like they stack so well and they can be seen very easily in the box. Some people really like how they look in the box, they'll never open them. And it's not only about value, like literally it's an aesthetical choice. And good on them. That is entirely their prerogative. But it is something that I've figured out. I figure out like that feels like to me why Funko Pops endure so much. Not only because they hit so many aspects of pop culture, so many things that they wouldn't normally release toys of. You know, I have Funko Pops from like the movie 16 Candles. When are they going to do action figures for 16 Candles? They're not. So you get Funko Pops instead. You know, I've got all manner of every like iteration of every Spider-Man, Batman, all kinds of like different variations, different costumes over the years. I can't make enough of them. Marvel Legends will do a few Spider-Mans a year, and it might take them a while to wheel back around to do the Spider-Man. And sometimes they never get around to certain suits. But Funko Pops hit literally everything they possibly can. You know, that's the benefit of them being so much cheaper to make than a Marvel Legend. So, I get it now. I understand why the Funko Pops are popular. I know there's still a lot of collectors who have the same mindset I used to have, which is, oh, boo, they're not real toys. They're not... Enjoy what you want. That's all I'm going to say. Just, if you enjoy them, fine. I honestly enjoy them these days. I just got a bunch of the gargoyle ones because I've been in a big gargoyles mood. I bought 4 of them out of this store, and then 2 more that are on the way from eBay, and then I still have to figure out how to get Demona and Angela. So I'm in it a little bit heavier than I thought I would be. That's how Funko gets ya. That's how the pops go. Once you pop, you cannot stop, and they come for your nostalgia eventually. Eventually, they will make something that will go. Like right now, I'm waiting for my targets in the area to get that Shockwave pop in. That's the next one on my hit list. But that is, you know, how I came to kind of understand what the big appeal to Funko Pops actually was. And you know what? It's perfectly understandable. I absolutely get it. I get it a little bit too much. But you know what? When it's the biggest seller I've got, when it's like one of the most important bits of inventory that I could possibly have, I gotta learn to respect it, and I've actually kind of grown to love it. That's the toy store life. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.